Nithyanandam Paramashuvam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam, we offer our humble obeisance, our humble pranams to the divine lotus feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. We welcome all the viewers across the world for Uttamottama Seva program for Paramashiva offered from the Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Devalayam in Adi Kailasa Sarvajna Peetam. In the hours before we are graced with the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, of Paramashiva himself. This is the most opportune time for us to prepare ourselves, our body and our mind towards. For those of you tuning in for the first time to Kailasa Nithyananda TV, welcome to the official TV programming for Sri Kailasa, the only and greatest Hindu nation in the world. Sri Kailasa is a Hindu nation revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, which serves millions with a simple and powerful way to experience and live enlightenment. Nithyananda Paramashivam is the reviver of Kailasa, the ancient enlightened civilization and the great cosmic borderless Hindu nation. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is an avatar from and is the Supreme Pontiff and coronated as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made the science of power manifestation, yoga, temple-based universities for humanity. Sovereign Order of Kailasa, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and Nithyananda Order of monks, nuns, and Hindu diaspora are working for global peace and to give a superconscious breakthrough to humanity. Nithyananda Hindu University is the world's largest university with extended campuses in 150 countries, is collecting, organizing, preserving, time capsuling, decoding, spreading, and reviving 20 million source books of Hinduism and the 64 sacred arts and sciences like Ayurveda, music, dance, sculpting, astrology, and Vastu. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Shyamala Pita Sarvajna Peetam, the ancient apex body of Hinduism, and the present emperor of Surya Vamsha Surangi Samrajyam. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has survived the worst persecution of many assassination attempts on person and character by anti-Hindu elements. And to explore the more videos, you can visit Kailasa Nithyananda YouTube channel. Paramashiva has come down to planet Earth and manifested this grand Leela of his life for each and every one of us to be part. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had taken this physical form and came down from Kailasa itself. Now that he is here, we can celebrate his happening on planet Earth and spread the message of Sri Kailasa. We invite all the viewers to share this link with all on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all other social media platforms. As we continue into the Uttamottama Seva introduction and prepared for the pre-satsang leading to Swamiji's satsang, let us do whatever we can to reach this message to one and all. Today, we are offering Uttamottama Seva to Goddess Lakshmi. The Uttamottama Seva is a Vedic ritual straight from the source, from the Agamas. Uttamottama means the best of the best, and Seva is offering. This is the ritual of offering the best of the best to Paramashiva. Whatever we offer to Paramashiva comes back to us in thousandfold, many millionfold, and Paramashiva is the source of everything, be it grains or knowledge or skill or people, everything. Uttamottama Seva is an intricate ritual that is described by Paramashiva himself. So many offerings are there that come from the best of the best that is offered in Vedic tradition, from the instruments to the offering of food that should be offered to Paramashiva, the various types of dance and the way it is danced, The Uttamottama Seva is described by Paramashiva as the best of the best. During this seva, we offer Abhishekam, Vastram, Gandham, Abharanam, Archanam, Dupam, Deepam, Naivedyam, Aratrikam, Deepopacharam, Pushpanjalim, Pushpanjalim, Chaturvedam, Gruhya Sutram, Agama Stotram, Dravida Vedam, Nityam, Sangeetam, Vadyam, and Swasti Vachanam. The source of all these best things is Paramashiva. He has given these to us. Offering them back at his feet is what we do during this seva, whereby we experience the intense Shaktinipata and Advaita, the oneness with him, and as a result, we leave the state, radiate the space, and manifest the Shaktis of Paramashiva. And also, since it is Agama Vidhi, Paramashiva's instructions, we offer them during this seva. The best of the food offered as Naivedyam, the best movement a body can take offered as dance, Nitya Seva, the best of sound offered as music, Sangeeta Seva, and the best of consciousness offered as power manifestation, Shakti Avishkarana. The best that humanity can offer to Paramashiva as gratitude is offered in Uttamottama Seva. Today we are offering Uttamottama Seva to Goddess Lakshmi. The word Lakshmi comes from the Sanskrit language word Laksha, that means aim or goal. And Mahalakshmi is the goddess of wealth and prosperity, each material and religious. As a female counterpart of Mahavishnu, Mahalakshmi is also called Sri, the female energy of the Supreme Being. She is the goddess of prosperity, wealth, purity, generosity, and the embodiment of beauty and grace. The Mahalakshmi, the story of Mahalakshmi has a profound importance in Hinduism, which is reflected in the ancient scriptures. The story begins with a meeting between sage Durvasa and Lord Indra, the king of the gods. Sage Durvasa, with a lot of respect, offers a garland of flowers to Lord Indra. Lord Indra takes the flowers and places it on the forehead of his elephant Airavat. The elephant Airavat takes the garland and throws it down on the earth. The chief of sages, Durvasa, gets angry at this disrespectful treatment of his gift, says to the king of gods, "You have an inflated ego, and in your arrogance, you have not respected the garland, which was the dwelling of the goddess of fortune." Says Durvasa curses Lord Indra that his kingdom will also be ruined like he has thrown the garland onto the ground in his excessive pride, since Lord Indra has not bowed in front of him. Sage Durvasa walks away and Indra returns in his capital Amaravati. The changes in the Amaravati started to take place following Durvasa's curse. The gods and the people lose their vigor and energy. All the vegetable products and plants start dying. Men stop doing charity, minds become corrupted, people start engaging in ultimate sensory pleasures, and men and women start getting excited by objects. Everyone's desire becomes uncontrollable. With the Devas getting weak in Amaravati, the demons invaded the Devas and defeated them. This is the reason the Devas and demons reside in us and are a response representative of the good and evil within us. After being defeated, the Devas went to Lord Vishnu, who suggested the churning of the ocean to restore the power back to the Devas by providing them with the Amrit that would make them immortal. This is how the churning of the ocean began. The churning is symbolized by the literal tug of war between the devas and demons in the story. From this churning, goddess Lakshmi rises out of the waves, seated in a full blown lotus. The goddess Lakshmi chooses Mahavishnu as, as her master and thus chooses the devas over the demons. The devas get their power back and fight the asuras, the demons, again and prevail over them. The first lesson in the story is that goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, forsakes even the devas if they become arrogant. Goddess Lakshmi is not only about material wealth. When the goddess of fortune gets displeased, it leads to an inability to perform good work, lack of energy, hunger, poverty, lack of mental peace, lack of willpower, and a meaningless life. The first lesson in this story is that Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, forsakes even the devas if they become arrogant. Goddess Lakshmi is not only about material wealth. When the goddess of fortune is displeased, it leads to inability to perform good work, lack of energy, hunger, poverty, lack of mental peace, lack of willpower, and the lead a meaningless life. The another story is connected to goddess Mahalakshmi with the famous temple at Tirupati, Tirumala Tirupati Devalayam. It also relates to Hindu ideas of commitment in marriage. Following an argument with Lord Vishnu, goddess Lakshmi left her heavenly abode, Vaikunta, and came down to the planet Earth. She stayed in a hermitage on the banks of the river Godavari. Missing his beloved, Lord Vishnu went in search for her and came to the Earth planet. Ultimately, his quest brought him to the Sheshadri hills, where she stopped to rest in an ant hill. Upset by the separation between Vishnu and Lakshmi, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva decided to intervene and, adopting the guises of cow and calf, went to live within the palace grounds of local king. The cowherd took the cow and calf every day to graze in the Seshadri hills, where the cow would secretly visit the ant hill in, in which Vishnu was living. Emptying her milk, the cow would then return to the palace. The cowherd was angry as cow never yielded any milk to him. He watched her movements carefully and his observations led him to the ant hill. In trying to ascertain what lay beneath the ant hill, he struck it with an axe, injuring Vishnu on the forehead. In search of helps to heal the world, Lord Vishnu wandered far and wide. His wanderings brought him to the shrine of Sri Varahaswamy, the third incarnation of Vishnu, as above. Here he sought permission to stay, but Varahaswamy wanted a rental to be paid. Vishnu pleaded that he was poor now and needed a rent-free accommodation. To reciprocate this gesture of goodwill, he offered tell his devotees to worship Varahaswamy before they worshipped him. Varahaswamy agreed, and Vishnu built a hermitage and lived there, served by a devotee, Vakula Devi, who looked after him as would a mother. In a nearby kingdom ruled King Akasharaja, a childless for many years. He had one day found a beautiful baby girl sleeping within a golden box. When he found while plunging, he had named her Padmavati. A beautiful and accomplished girl, Padmavati had been granted a boon in her earlier birth that she would be married to Lord Vishnu. One day, Vishnu, who had been renamed Srinivas by his foster mother, went hunting in the forest. His wandering led him to a garden with a beautiful pond. Srinivasa was thirsty and tired. After drinking from the pond, he rested in the shade of a tree. Soon he was roused by the soft singing of Padmavati, who was dancing in the garden with her companions. Srinivasa was stunned by her beauty and attracted to her. She too seems to be drawn to him, but the angry attendants, thinking the boy a mere hunter, drove him away. Depressed and unhappy, Srinivasa poured out his troubles to his foster mother. Now, for the first time, he revealed to her who he really was and also told her the story of Padmavati. In the meanwhile, Padmavati was dreaming of Srinivasa. She had no idea who he really was and knew that her parents would consent to her marriage to a hunter. Srinivasa urged Vakula Devi to approach Padmavati's father Akasha Raja with the marriage proposal. In the meanwhile, he disguised himself as a soothsayer and went to the court of Akasha Raja. There he assured Padmavati that the hunter she had fallen in love was no ordinary man but the Lord himself, and assured her that her worries would soon be over. Padmavati too poured out her heart to her parents. At about the same time, Vakula Devi arrived with the marriage proposal. After consulting with the sages, Akash Raja accepted the proposal and invited Srinivasa to attend the wedding on Friday, the 10th day of month of Vaishakhi. Srinivasa now had arrangements to make. The he, he sought loan of a huge amount of coins of gold from Kubera, the treasurer of the demigods. He requested Vishwakarma, the divine architect, to construct heavenly surroundings in the Sheshadri hills. The day of the wedding arrived. Lord Srinivasa was bathed in holy waters and dressed in jeweled ornaments before the royal groom, befitting a royal groom. Then he set off in a procession for the court of Akasha Raja. There Padmavati waited, radiant in her beauty. Srinivasa was hailed within an anti-arti ceremony and led to the marriage hall. There was a king and queen. There, the king and queen washed his feet while sage Vasishtha chanted the Vedic mantras. Soon the wedding was over, and it was time for Padmavati to take leave of her parents. Together they lived for all eternity, and goddess Lakshmi, understanding the commitment of Lord Vishnu, chose to live in his heart forever. Tirupati today stands as a special place commemorating the marriage between the Vishnu and Lakshmi. Every day, a special festival celebrates the divine union. Even today, during the Brahmosam at the temple, turmeric, kumkum, and a sari are sent from the temple to Tiruchan, Tiruchanur, the abode of Padmavati. In the light of this background, it has become the favored destination of many newlywed couples who pray for a happy wedding, the wedding like that of Srinivasa and Padmavati. Mahalakshmi is the energy of Mahavishnu. With four hands, signify her power to grant the four Purusharthas of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Mahalakshmi is the goddess of beauty, wealth, and fertility. Mahalakshmi manifests in eight different ways. This concept of goddess Lakshmi in her eightfold form is referred to as the Ashtalakshmi. Goddess Lakshmi is worshipped in eight aspects such as Vijaya Lakshmi for success, Gaja Lakshmi for strength, mobility, Dhana Lakshmi for health, and Mahalakshmi for liberation. Thus, Lakshmi is vested with powers of fulfilling the entire gamut of desires from the mundane to spiritual of a sincere devotee. Mahalakshmi is also considered the mother of the universe when it comes to providing wealth in its 16 forms: knowledge, intelligence, strength, valor, beauty, victory, fame, ambition, morality, gold, and other forms of wealth, like food grains, bliss, happiness, health, longevity, and virtuous offspring. The eight forms of Ashtalakshmi, through their individual nature, are believed to fulfill these human necessities and desires. Today, our Gurukul Balasans are offering Uttamottama Seva to Goddess Lakshmi. So let's all stay tuned to enjoy this Uttamottama Seva to Goddess Lakshmi by our Gurukul Balasan and receive the Goddess Mahalakshmi's blessings and the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Thank you so much, Nithyanandam.
10 years ago, I had an unavoidable surgery which caused me to go blind in my right eye. For all these years, I have had no more than 5% vision in that eye. Just about 30 minutes ago, as I'm listening to these testimonials, I am looking at the hall and wondering why everything is looking so bright. Colors and vision through my right eye. Ten years ago, I had an unavoidable surgery which caused me to go blind in my right eye. For all these years, I have had no more than 5% vision in that eye. Just about 30 minutes ago, as I'm listening to these testimonials, I am looking at the hall and wondering why everything is looking so bright. I'm seeing so many more dimensions. So I put my hand over the left eye and saw for the very first time in 10 years colors and vision through my right eye.
Nitya of the Uttama Seva at the feet of Devi Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta, Sri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva is the offering of the Chaturveda. Devadevottama Devata Sarvabhauma Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka Sri Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Sri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Chaturveda Priya Chaturvedam Avadharaya Hari Om Agnimile Purohitai Yajnasya Devam Hritvidam Hotaram Ratnadatamam Hari Om Isheto Jetva Vayavastopaaya Pasta Devo Vastavita Praptai Tushte Tamaya Karmane Hari Om Agna Ayahi Shanno Devi Rabishtaya Apo Bhavantu Pitaye Shayyo Rabishravantu Naha Hari Om. The next offering of the Uttama Seva at the feet of Devi Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Sri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva is the offering of the Agama Shloka. Devadevottama Devata Sarvabhauma Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka Sri Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Sri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Agama Shloka Priya Agama Shloka Navadharaya Shri Bhagavan Vacha Ati Kautuhala Vishta Prichaste Tachunu Priye Yanme Netrantare Vahne Yadvanritamannuttamam Tatsarvam Katayishyami Yoga Yuktya Shunu Priye Yatsvarupam Nijam Shuddham Vyapakam Sarvatomukam. The next offering of the Uttama Seva at the feet of Devi Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Sri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva is the offering of the Dravida Vedam. Devadevottama Devata Sarvabhauma Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka Sri Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Sri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Dravida Veda Priya Dravida Vedam Avadharaya Shiva Tiruchitrambalam Veyuru Toli Pangan Vidamunda Kandan Miganalla Vinai Tadavi Masaru Tingal Gangai Mudimela Nindayan Ulame Pugunda Adanal Nyayiru Tingal Savai Budan Vyalan Velli Shani Pambirandin Mudane Masaru Nalla Nalla Avai Nalla Nallayan Adayadavarku Migave Shiva Tiruchitrambalam.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Offering of the Uttama Seva at the feet of Devi Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Sri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva is the offering of the Stotra Seva. Devadevottama Devata Sarvabhauma Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka Sri Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Sri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Stotra Priya Stotram Avadharaya
सुमनसवन्दित सुन्दरि माधवि चन्द्र सहोदरि हेममये मुनिगणवन्दित मोक्षप्रदायिनि मञ्जुलभाषिनि वेदनुते पङ्कजवासिनि देवसुपूजित सद्गुणवर्षिणि शान्तियुते जय जय हे मधुसूदन कामिनि आदिलक्ष्मि सदपालय माम् 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 अयि कलिकल्मषनाशिनि कामिनि वैदिकरूपिणि वेदमये क्षीरसमुद्भव मङ्गलरूपिणि मन्त्रनिवासिनि मन्त्रनुते मङ्गलदायिनि अम्बुजवासिनि देवगणाश्रित पादयुते जय जय हे मधुसूदन कामिनि धान्यलक्ष्मि सदपालय माम् 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 जय वरवर्षिणि वैष्णवि भार्गवि मन्त्रस्वरूपिणि मन्त्रमये सुरगणपूजित शीघ्रफलप्रद ज्ञानविकासिनि शास्त्रनुते भवभयहारिणि पापविमोचिनि साधुजन श्रुतपादयुते जय जय हे मधुसूदन कामिनि धैर्यलक्ष्मि सदपालय माम् 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 जय जय दुर्गतिनाशिनि कामिनि सर्वफलप्रद शास्त्रमये रदगजतुरगपदाति समावित परिगणवन्दित लोकनुते हरिहर ब्रह्म सुपूजित सेवित तापनिवारिणि पादयुते जय जय हे मधुसूदन कामिनि गजलक्ष्मी रूपेण पालय माम् 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 अयि खगवाहिनि मोहिनि चक्रिणि रागविवर्धिनि ज्ञानमये गुणगणवर्धिनि लोकवितैषिणि सप्तस्वरभूषित गाननुते सकल सुरासुर देव मुनीश्वर मानव वन्दित पादयुते जय जय हे मधुसूदन कामिनि सन्तानलक्ष्मी त्वपालय माम् 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 जय कमलाशिनि षद्गतिदायिनि ज्ञानविकासिनि ज्ञानगानमये अनुदिनमर्जित कुङ्कुमधूसर भूषित वासित वाद्यनुते कनकधरास्तुति वैभव वन्दित शङ्कर देशिक मान्यपदे जय जय हे मधुसूदन कामिनि विजयलक्ष्मि सदपालय माम् 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 प्रणत सुरेश्वरि भारति भार्गवि शोक विनाशिनि रत्नमये मणिमय भूषित कर्ण विभूषित शांति समावृत हास्य मुखे नवनिधिदायिनि कलिमहारिणि कामित फलप्रद हस्तयुते जय जय हे मधुसूदन कामिनि विद्यालक्ष्मी सदपालय मां 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 दिमि दिमि दिन दिमि दिन दिमि दिन दिमि दुन्दु विनाद सुपूर्णमये गुम गुम गुं गुम गुं गुम गुं गुम शङ्खनिनाद सुवाद्यनुते वेद पुराणितिहास सुपूजित वैदिक मार्ग प्रदर्शयुते जय जय हे मधुसूदन कामिनि धनलक्ष्मी रूपेण पालय मां धनलक्ष्मी रूपेण पालय मां धनलक्ष्मी रूपेण पालय मां धनलक्ष्मी रूपेण पालय मां धनलक्ष्मी रूपेण पालय माम् अष्टलक्ष्मी नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विष्णुवक्षस्थलारूढे भक्तमोक्षप्रदायिनी शङ्खचक्रगदाहस्ते विश्वरूपिणि निते जयः जगन्माते च मोहिन्ये मङ्गलं शुभमङ्गलम् ॐ नमो भगवते सदाशिवाय सकलतत्त्वात्मकाय सर्वमन्त्रस्वरूपाय सर्वयन्त्राधिष्ठिताय सर्वतन्त्रस्वरूपाय सर्वतत्त्वविधूराय ब्रह्मरुद्रावतारिणे नीलकण्ठाय पार्वतीमनोहराय सोमसूर्य अग्निलोचनाय भस्मोद्धूलितविग्रहाय महामणिमुकुटधारणाय माणिक्यभूषणाय सृष्टिस्थितिप्रलयकाय रौद्रावताराय दक्षाध्वरध्वंसकाय महाकालभेदनाय मूलाधारैकनिलयाय तत्त्वातीताय गङ्गाधराय सर्वदेवादिदेवाय सदाश्रयाय वेदान्तसाराय त्रिवर्गसाधनाय अनन्तकोटिब्रह्माण्डनायकाय अनन्तवासुकितक्षककारकोटक शङ्खगुलिकपद्म महापद्मेति अष्टमहानागकुलभूषणाय प्रणवस्वरूपाय चिदाकाशाय आकाशदिक्स्वरूपाय ग्रहनक्षत्रमालिने सकलाय कलङ्करहिताय सकललोकैककर्त्रे सकललोकैकभद्रे सकललोकैकसंहर्त्रे सकललोकैकगुरवे सकललोकैकसाक्षिणे सकलनिगमगुह्याय सकलवेदान्तपारगाय सकललोकैकवरप्रदाय सकललोकैकशङ्कराय शशाङ्कशेखराय शाश्वतनिजावासाय निराभासाय निरामयाय निर्मलाय निर्मदाय निश्चिन्ताय निरहङ्काराय निरङ्कुशाय निष्कलङ्काय निर्गुणाय निष्कामाय निरुपप्लवाय निरभद्रवाय निरवध्याय निरन्तराय निष्कारणाय निरन्तकाय निष्प्रपञ्चाय निस्सङ्गाय निर्लोपाय निष्पापाय निर्भयाय निर्विकल्पाय निर्भेदाय निष्क्रियाय निस्तुलानन्दाद्वयाय परमशान्तस्वरूपाय तेजो कपालबालाधर खट्वाङ्ग खड्ग चर्म पाशाङ्कुश डमरु शूल चाप बाण गदा शक्ति भिण्डिपाल तोमर मुसल मुद्गर पाश परिघ भुषुण्डी शतग्नि चक्राद्यायुध भीषण कर सहस्रमुख दंष्ट्राकरालवदन विकटाट्टहास विस्फारित ब्रह्मांड मंडल नागेन्द्र कुंडल नागेन्द्रहार नागेन्द्र वलय नागेन्द्र चर्मधर मृत्युंजय त्र्यंबक विश्वरूप विरूपाक्ष विश्वेश्वर वृषभवाहन विश्वभूषण विश्वतोमुख सर्वतो रक्ष रक्ष मां ज्वल ज्वल महामृत्युममृत्युभयं नाशय नाशय चोरभयम् उत्सादय उत्सादय विषसर्पभयं शमय शमय चोरान् मारय मारय मम शत्रून् उच्चाटय उच्चाटय त्रिशूलेन विदारय विदारय कुठारेण भिण्डि भिण्डि खड्गेन छिन्दि छिन्दि खट्वाङ्गेन विपोदय विपोदय मुसलेन निष्पेषय निष्पेषय बाणैः सन्तातय सन्तातय रक्षांसि रक्षांसि भीषय भीषय भूतानि विद्रावय विद्रावय कूष्माण्ड मारीच वेताल ब्रह्मराक्षसगणान् सन्तातय सन्तातय माम् अभयं कुरु कुरु वित्रस्त्वं माम् आश्वासय आश्वासय नरकभया माम् उद्धर उद्धर सञ्जीवय सञ्जीवय शत्रुभ्यां माम् आप्यायय आप्यायय दुःखातुरं माम् आनन्दय आनन्दय शिवकवचेन माम् आच्छादय आच्छादय मृत्युञ्जय त्र्यम्बक सदाशिव नमस्ते नमस्ते. The next offering of the Uttamotama Seva at the feet of Devi Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Shri Nithyanandeshwari Paramashivam is the offering of the Sangeeta Seva. देवदेवोत्तम देवता सार्वभौम अखिलांड कोटि ब्रह्मांड नायक श्री नित्यानंदेश्वरी पराशक्ति समेत श्री नित्यानंदेश्वर परमशिव संगीत प्रिय संगीतम अवधारय नित्यानंदं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलम् सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. नित्येश्वरी मा शक्ति स्वरूपिणी शांत स्वरूपिणी मा जय जय नित्य नित्येश्वरी मा जय जय नित्य नित्येश्वरी मा जय जय शुभ मंगल देवी नित्य महादेवी सरस्वती महादेवी दुर्गा भवानी माता महेश्वरी मंगलहरिणी नित्य नित्येश्वरी दुर्गा भवानी. देवी नित्य महादेवी सरस्वती महादेवी दुर्गा भवानी माता महेश्वरी मंगलहरिणी नित्य नित्येश्वरी दुर्गा भवानी. देवी भवानी जय जगज्जननी देवी भवानी जय जगज्जननी मंदहासिनी आनंदेश्वरी मंदहासिनी आनंदेश्वरी जय माँ जय नित्य माँ देवी जय माँ जय नित्य माँ देवी देवी नित्य माँ देवी सरस्वती माँ देवी दुर्गा भवानी माता महेश्वरी मंगलहरिणी नित्य नित्येश्वरी दुर्गा भवानी।
नित्यानन्द परमशिवोऽहम् 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 नित्यानन्द परमशिवोऽहम्
Sri Nithyanandeshwar Paramashiva is the offering of the Nitya Seva. Deva Devottama Devata Sarvabhauma Akhilanta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka Sri Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Sri Nithyanandeshwar Paramashiva Nitya Priya Nityam Avadharaya.
मूषिकवाहन मोदकग्रस्त चामरकर्ण विलम्बित सूत्र वामन रूप महेश्वर पुत्र दीन विनायक पाद नमस्ते मूषिकवाहन मोदकग्रस्त चामरकर्ण विलम्बित सूत्र वामन रूप महेश्वर पुत्र दीन विनायक पाद नमस्ते सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham.
Shri Parashakti Sameta Shri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva is the offering of the Paramashiva Shakti Avishkarna. Deva Devottama Devata Sarvabhauma Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka Shri Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Shri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Paramashiva Shakti Avishkarna Priya Paramashiva Shakti Avishkarnam Avadharaya.
Nithyanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamotim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadusham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nitpurum Tam Namami. Nityanam everyone, I welcome all of you to today's Uttavotama Seva, the segment of the Paramashiva Shakti Avishkarna. I am Vaniti Virajananda and the Balsan and the manifestor for today's Uttavotama Seva. So today we are going to manifest the power of consciousness over matter, that we connect Swamiji through oneness and command the object to move on any direction which we want. Yes. So along with me, I have Ma Pratibha. She is from Bangalore. Might introduce herself.
I am Pratibha Chandramohan, Kailasa, Bangalore.
Yes, Ma. So I request you to keep your palms straight and yes, we'll be placing the coconut on the palm. So now I'll be chanting the Mahavakya very intensely and connect to Swamiji and making sure the coconut to move. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Yes. So you can see the coconut has fallen down. So if you too want to manifest and experience all these powers of Paramashiva, you can always join us on NTV live after Satsangh, where they'll be guiding you to power manifestation and will be making you to manifest and experience various different powers of Paramashiva. With this, I would like to offer my heartfelt gratitude. I repeat of Devi Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Shri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva, and thanking all the viewers for joining us live on Nithyani TV for today's Uttavotama Seva. For more upcoming programs, please stay tuned in Nithyani TV. Thank you, Nithyananda.
10 years ago, I had an unavoidable surgery which caused me to go blind in my right eye. For all these years, I have had no more than 5% vision in that eye. Just about 30 minutes ago, as I'm listening to these testimonials, I am looking at the hall and wondering why everything is looking so bright. I'm seeing so many more dimensions. So I put my hand over the left eye and saw for the very first time in 10 years colors and vision through my right eye. Ten years ago, I had an unavoidable surgery which caused me to go blind in my right eye. For all these years, I have had no more than 5% vision in that eye. Just about 30 minutes ago, as I'm listening to these testimonials, I am looking at the hall and wondering why everything is looking so bright. I'm seeing so many more dimensions. So I put my hand over the left eye and saw for the very first time in 10 years colors and vision through my right eye.
नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतम् भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Nithyanandam, welcoming one and all for this beautiful segment and on this very important and significant day of World Autism Awareness Day. Kailasa's Department of Health and Kailasa's Uniting Nations for Healing Autism joins the United Nations in observing the World Autism Awareness Day. What is the World Autism Awareness Day? Can move to the next slide. Joining me today in this segment is Ma Nitya Pramayananda. And today we have a very special segment where we share with you about autism. We share with you about the statistics about autism, the medical diagnosis of autism, and we share with you about how hundreds of parents who have had the healing touch of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who have seen their child go through the spiritual healing process by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. They are going to come today and share with all of us as we create more awareness about autism, as we create more awareness about how autism is being healed by the spiritual healing of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. First, we would like to share with you about what is the World Autism Awareness Day.
The World Autism Awareness Day, and welcome to all the viewers. And thank you, Niratma Swami, for the introduction. We welcome all of you today for this very special segment. And what is the Autism Awareness Day? It is an internationally recognized day on 2nd April every year, encouraging member states of the United Nations to take measures to raise awareness about people with autistic spectrum disorders, including autism and Asperger's syndrome throughout the world. It was designated by the United Nations General Assembly Resolution. World Autism Awareness Day passed in Council on the 1st November 2007 and was adopted on the 18th December 2007. And today it's the 14th year.
Now, on this World Autism Awareness Day, Kailasa's Department of Health and Kailasa's Kailasa Uniting Nations for Healing Autism, with the grace and the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, is taking the spiritual responsibility of creating awareness about the autistic disorder and giving the solution of how you can spiritually heal an autistic child through the blessings and the healing of the Supreme Pontiff. Before we get started on that, let's give an introduction to what is autism. Autism spectrum disorder is a complex developmental condition that involves persistent challenges in social interaction, speech and nonverbal communication, and restricted or repetitive behaviors. The effect of autism spectrum disorder and the severity of the symptoms are different in each person. What are some of the key facts and statistics of autism around the world today?
The facts. 1 in 160 children has an autism spectrum disorder, the ASD. ASD is begin in childhood and land to persist into adolescent and adulthood. While some people with ASD can live independently, others have severe disabilities and require lifelong care and support. Intervention for people with ASD needs to be accompanied by broader actions for making physical, social, and attitudinal environments more acceptable, inclusive, and supportive. Worldwide, people with ASD are often subject to stigma, discrimination, and human rights violations. Globally, access to services and support for people with ASD is inadequate.
In 2020, it was estimated that around 222 in 10,000 children in the United States had autism spectrum disorder, one of the highest prevalence rates in the world. The autism spectrum disorder includes a variety of disorders. The spectrum denotes the range of symptoms as well as their severity. Spectrums can include difficulties with speech, social communication and interaction, repetitive behavior, sensory issues, and hypersensitivity to stimuli.
In the United States, autism spectrum disorder is more common among boys than girls. In the US, around 3.63% of boys aged 3 to 17 had autism spectrum disorder compared to 1.25% of girls. According to the most recent available data, the Northeast region had the highest rate of autism spectrum disorder in the US with around 3%.
It is unclear what causes autism spectrum disorder, and there is no cure. Therapy can help children with autism spectrum disorder develop social communication and self-care skills that can help them better live with their disorder. Many children with autism spectrum disorder also suffer from other disorders such as attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, a learning disability, or an intellectual disability.
And now you can see the graph which presents the prevalence of autism spectrum disorder among children in selected countries worldwide as of 2020. And this is the number per 10,000 people, 10,000 children. So at the top, you can see Hong Kong, then South Korea and United States that are free countries with the largest amount of the prevalence of autism spectrum disorder among children.
The research shows a rise in the autism rate in the United States. Here you can see in the graph, from the year 2000 to 2014, the percentage of autism has increased from 1 in 150 children to now 1 in 59 children. Currently in 2014, it is at a rate of 16.8. 1 in 59 children suffer from autism. And now we would like to invite an expert on this subject, Dr. Pranjal Kale, a pediatrician, a practicing pediatrician since 18 years in the city of Mumbai. And Dr. Pranjal is known for her holistic approach towards children's health. She is attached to the prestigious tertiary care hospital in Mumbai as a consultant. She is also a trustee of an NGO named SOPAN, which runs a school and training center for children with autism. She is a faculty for autism and trains parents and therapists in autism short courses for the last 8 years. She is also an ardent devotee of the Supreme Pontiff for the last 10 years, along with her whole family. It gives us immense pleasure in inviting Dr. Pranjal Kale for our panel today. Nithyananda Ma, can you unmute yourself?
Thank you so much for making me part of this program today. Privilege.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Pranjal. And if you can share to all our viewers, we are observing the World Autism Awareness Day as a part of, along with the United Nations. And we would like you to shed some light about autism. What really causes autism and how do you detect, what are the symptoms of autism that you typically detect and at around what age?
Yeah. So I heard the introduction which you and Adama gave right now. And as you clearly said, there are mainly 3 domains where the children with autism suffer. First is social interaction. Secondly, social communication, which can be verbal or non-verbal, which is much more of an emotional and language side. And third part is repetitive or stereotypical behaviors or interests. They are stuck in certain routines. So these are the 3 things which actually hamper them from becoming a part of a society or a regular school. Now, the incidence also, as you said, it's 1 into 116, but every country had different incidences, and it's growing or not growing is a big debatable issue. We initially thought 20 years down the lane that it's a new disease or a new condition of a modern era. But when I really researched, even Charak Samhita has mentioned the condition equivalent to autism under the umbrella term of Unmada. So it's not at all a new disorder. Whether the awareness has increased or whether the detection has increased is one part. But there has been a huge study, population-based study in UK, which actually questioned people above 40 years. And they found the autism incidences in 1 in 200. So it's definitely not only a new disorder, it has been there, maybe surfacing up to awareness right now. What are the other questions, Ma, which you asked?
Beautiful, Ma. And so other question, if you can shed light on how does and when does autism typically get detected? Is it only in children? Does it occur in adults? When does it get detected?
So as again, you mentioned, it's a neurodevelopmental disorder and it presents to us or it kind of reveals itself when the communication milestones are getting achieved, which is between 9 months to 15 months, when the language develops, when the child starts interacting. This is the time when child is interacting with the environment more, the diet is more, many other things are happening. So the children who are genetically susceptible might react to environment differently, and whichever milestones they have achieved, they might regress on it, or they actually kind of present and we understand, okay, there is deficit in social milestones. So the earliest screening tool which we can apply is at 9 months. Officially, clinically, we can diagnose autism at 2 years, but honestly, we can start working on these kids before they start kind of going in shell, as soon as we see some kind of a warning signs, which is basically 9 months to 18 months of age. Whether it can
And
happen
does
in...
it always
Yes,
and does it always happen at birth, or can autism also develop as we grow up?
So, the pure autism is but it's a disorder where there are multiple symptoms are involved. It's like the viral fever will also have cough, actually all well grown, causes or suffers some kind of a damage because of some trauma or infection or hormonal changes, immune reactions. Those brain parts which are associated with social communication can get damaged, and these people will have symptoms which are representing autism, but they will not exactly fall into category of autism. Their prognosis or their process might be different than how a kid with autism will behave. So autism starts in an infant, but the symptoms can be possible in adults to be seen.
Is it possible? Is there a cure for autism in the world today?
Well, a very, very important question, and I actually keep on telling that I don't see autism as a disease, ma. It's just a brain which is just like yours and mine, which is functioning differently. It's because we don't understand their functioning. We kind of label it as a disability or a disorder or a disease, and we try to fix it. They have certain limitations. Because of that, they can't tap onto their potential to the maximum. If we kind of help them to overcome the limitations with some kind of a training or whatever, it may be a social interaction training, language, behavior, where we kind of take away the limitations, the real part or the real potential or the flower actually blossoms out, which has all the potential, or perhaps much more potentials than what you and me have, maybe in different directions. So I will not look at a cure. I will make the child equipped so they can survive independently in the society, and they can be a contributing members of that society with whatever potentials they have. So it's helping the kid grow rather than
Trying to
break
cure the
and then
kid.
make. Yes.
Beautiful, ma. That's actually a very different way, a different perspective to the whole autism and how the world observes autistic children. And does lifestyle have any say in how autism develops or the causes of autism? Does the lifestyle, the food that we eat, the way that we live, does that impact autistic kids or autism at all?
So science is still struggling to find the reason why the autism is happening, its environment or its genetic. But there have been multiple observational studies, and what we have realized is there are multiple factors which starts working before the child is born. So it's mother as a host, the ova, the father as a host, and the sperm. The process starts from that. After that, when the baby is in the womb, again, certain factors which can affect the baby's growth. And after the baby is born, some factors are grown. So it's a complete process. If we try to only correct the child, that's not going to work, because the source of the disability can be in the ova, can be in the sperm, or can be in the mother's womb itself. So there are many factors which have been associated, but few very common factor is metabolic diseases in the mother, like diabetes, hypertension, and obesity, which is purely lifestyle related. It is highly associated with allergies in the kids as well as family, which is, I'm very sure, is related to genetically modified food which we people are eating, or the food which is not meant for us to be eaten. These are the factors. And along with that, stress, medicines in the mother, sleep pattern, all these things have impacted the growing brain before it was kind of started growing, and maybe after the baby is born. And actually, Ayurveda, perhaps, as I discussed under Unmada, when they discussed, they actually relate this condition with a lifestyle, diet, and immune dysregulation. They also describe this along with a gut health, which now we in allopathy are now understanding that gut is a second brain. And if we cannot treat the brain directly, if we treat the gut, like gut inflammation or some kind of an indigestion and allergy, we will be able to affect the development of the child. There are specific diets given to few of the kids who respond, like gluten-free and casein-free diet, omega-3 fatty acid diets. Few kids will react for whom that factor, the gut factor, has been responsible for symptoms of autism. So it's a wide term.
Go ahead.
So it's a wide term. We really don't know which child is presenting because of what causes. Every child is unique, and that's the major hurdle which we face while handling these kids of autism, and especially their parents, who literally runs from pillars to post finding cure of autism. So if science reaches a conclusion why it's happening, we will be able to help this family much more. But at present, if we focus on lifestyle and diet, I think we are handling the roots or the soil properly. Then I'm expecting the plant and the fruits to be better only.
Beautiful, Ma. So such a beautiful introduction and bringing awareness to what causes autism and how we can see an autistic child. How do we observe? What kind of perceptions that we have on an autistic child? And Dr. Pranjal, I really want you to stay tuned, because we are now going to hear a testimonial of a child who had, such symptoms, and how, with the healing touch of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the child has shown enormous signs of healing, and how he is now, what kind of activities he is actually performing is mind-boggling. So very, very, very breakthrough in the field of autism we want to present today. With the healing and the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, what can happen to a child who you thought was abnormal and who you thought had a lot of issues. I would now like to invite Ma Paramartha from the United States to come and share her experience as she observed her son go through the healing process with the Supreme Pontiff. Nithyananda Ma. Nithyananda Ma, can you please introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, and also introduce your son?
Okay. My name is Ma Nithya Paramarthananda. I'm from Dallas, Texas. And here's my son, Sugargnana Maharaj, Sri Nithya Sugargnana Maharaj. He's an initiated brahmachari of Swamiji's, by Swamiji. And
wonderful, Ma. Thank you so much. And Nithyananda Maharaj, thank you for joining us on the panel today. Ma Paramartha, if you can share what kind of symptoms that you saw in your son as he was born and as he grew up, what kind of symptoms that you saw in your son and how it impacted you, your family, your husband?
Sure, Ma. Sugargnana was a normally developing child, and at the age of 17 months, we gave him a flu vaccination, and we have seen the world change. Like, he withdrew into his own world. He stopped responding to his name, and then followed a lot of medical issues, allergies, inflammation.
And all this when he was 17 months?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. And then we had therapy after therapy. Like, I would be driving him 5-6 hours. I would be spending my time on the road, taking him from therapy to therapy, doctor to doctor. So we have tried many interventions. We have gone to many leading researchers in the United States.
What kind of symptoms you saw in him?
Socially withdrawn, not able to communicate. He had language, he had speech, but it was mainly echolalic. Means he would just repeat what he has heard before. Not that spontaneous language and communication wasn't present. Was difficult, very difficult for him. And then, not being able to relate with other kids. These are a few symptoms that, and a lot of medical issues. He couldn't eat foods, like he was on a rotation diet. So if I give rice, he could eat only that. I could give that only after 4 days. So a very strict rotation diet.
Wow.
Yes. So
autism spectrum disorder includes a variety of disorders. The spectrum And as a mother, when you saw your son go through this, how did it impact you?
It was a lot of guilt. First, for not making good choices for him. Like, we did what the medical professionals have told us. Vaccinations are the best thing for your child. But that has affected his life, his future. And we even went to the extent of I started looking for his group homes, which is a normal thing in the US for special, for people with special needs. And it was just very heartbreaking for me. And there was no future. I didn't know what to expect for him. And after we've spent almost like $250,000 in various interventions, and there was no consistent progress.
Wow. So you used to go and meet different doctors, different therapists?
Yes. And he had.
So from what age to what age were you doing all these?
From age, we could say 2 till he was almost 7. So 5 years.
5 years, you went to different doctors, different therapists, and
yes.
Did it help?
No, I mean, when we were doing some intervention, we would see some symptoms, some good progress. But then the moment we stopped that, he would go back to his. It's like jumping 5 steps and then he would fall back 4 steps. So very, very slow progress, and it wasn't consistent.
And at that moment, 4 years, 5 years, observing your son going this back and forth, how did it impact you as a mother?
It's very, there was no life for me. And there was no reason to live also. It's just running after, only after coming to Swamiji, things have changed for us.
How did you get to know about Swamiji?
When we were desperately looking for some solution, somewhere, a friend of mine introduced us to the local Sangha in Dallas. And then that's how we attended our first program in February of 2015.
So when she means local Sangha, it's basically the local Kailasa, the mission of the Supreme Pontiff, where she is, where we have a group of devotees, we have an organization in literally every city in the world. So she got introduced to the person who was a part of the organization. So they invited her for some program. What happened after that? Did you have hope?
Yes, that was the only, all my insecurities have slowly, I think the healing happened to me. All the guilt, anger, a lot of emotions.
This is after you started getting Swamiji's initiation.
Yes.
So did you meet him physically or was it all online?
I met him physically. We did our during our first inner awakening program. That's when, things started, okay, there is hope. And Swamiji is the only one who could give him life. By the end of the program, that was that's what we felt.
What gave you that hope? And when was the first time you shifted from, almost giving up in life to having a hope? When did that shift happen?
It's after the Inner Awakening program.
So Inner Awakening is a just for all our viewers, Inner Awakening is a 21-day retreat conducted by the Supreme Pontiff. And did you take your son also to that?
Yes, ma.
Okay. Can you describe what happened after you went and had met Swamiji and received his initiation?
See, there's everybody out there, like the therapy, whoever we went to, the doctors, the best professionals in the world, they would label him. They would just give him diagnosis after diagnose. But Swamiji is the only person, he said, I will heal him. And by 13, you will see huge changes in him. I will take care of him. That assurance nobody could give me. And that security we felt as parents, being with Swamiji after, during the program, that nobody else in the world could give us.
What kind of symptoms you started observing? What kind of changes you started observing in your son after receiving after going through the healing process and being there in India with Swamiji? What changes you started observing in your son?
He started physically, he was tolerating more foods. Before meeting Swamiji, it was like, I don't know what to cook for his next meal. It's like a struggle as a mother, moment to moment. What do I do next? What do I feed him next? From that, I relaxed. Okay, he's fine. He's being taken care of. And then he started tolerating more and more foods. That itself has changed my life.
He was able to eat normally.
Yes.
Wow.
And then even the language part. Language is the mark which I would is a mark for me, an indication as to how he was doing. So when there was, I could see more and more spontaneous language, more and more interest in other people, just likes to be around people. So these are a few things. That's how it started. The changes have started.
And when he couldn't eat anything and then he could start eating a lot of food, he could start eating normal food, what did that leave you with? How did you feel as a mother seeing that child who could not eat for 5 years, from the 2 years to 7 years, and after the healing touch of Swamiji, he was able to eat normal food, he started communicating more. How did that impact you? How did you feel? What was the experience that you went through?
It's a huge relief as a mother. It's always who will take care of him after I'm gone, after the parents are gone. That's the biggest worry we as parents we had. And as we are seeing these small changes, but very big in our lives, those have given us hope that he will be fine and he will be able to function independently.
And now, what do you see in him? What all have happened in him? How is he living now? What kind of lifestyle is he living now?
We have been in Swamiji's ecosystem the past 5 years, since 2016 June. Well, life has just, it's a beautiful beginning for me and for all of us, for the three of us actually. So till then it was like, okay, he is a child with deficits, or we have to fix this in him, we have to fix that in him. But once we started living in the Adinam, nobody saw him, not just, Swamiji, of course, he would relate to everybody differently, but every other Adinavasi, they saw him as a possibility, not as a child of, with disability or with deficits. That changed me, that changed him, that environment, that ecosystem has made a huge impact in him. And with the mirror neurons, the kids on the spectrum have a deficit or difficulty with the mirror neurons. And so from even during 2017 also, he wasn't able to do yogasanas. He would struggle with them. But now, every day he wakes up at 3:30.
Wow.
He follows his routine. He does yoga. And then during the day, 108 Surya Namaskars. He would never miss his spiritual routine. Now he's learning Sanskrit. He loves music. He loves to be around others. He loves to go to the temple, be part of the temple rituals.
Wow.
When somebody asked him, what do you want to be when you grow up? Then he goes, I want to be at the temple. I want to do all the rituals at the temple. So
Wow.
that is how he sees himself, or just living in the ecosystem around Swamiji.
Wow. From a child who was taking, Paramatma was sharing that he was taking around 40 plus medicines and supplements on a single day. And today he doesn't take even one. Absolutely no supplement. His food has become completely normal, and he does yoga at 3:30 a.m. in the morning. Yes, not 3:30 p.m. 3:30 a.m. in the morning. He does yoga every single day. He has a completely normal diet. He goes through, he's learning Sanskrit now, learning the rituals. He is now an initiated Krama Brahmachari who's living the lifestyle of a Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means literally living like God. You know what Swamiji once said in the Satsangh when he was talking about kids with disabilities and autism? He said, when you bring an abnormal child back, I will not give you a normal child. I will give you a super normal child back. And when I see Sugagyana and when I see the transformation in him and what Ma Paramartha has shared, he is definitely today a super normal child. And I would now like to invite Dr. Pranjal, to come back. And she has actually seen, as a pediatrician, she has seen and she has observed the changes that Sugagyana has gone through, what kind of difficulties that he went through as a child, in the Adinam. Because it so happened that Ma Pranjal was in the monastery while Paramartha had brought Sugagyana for the program. So, Dr. Pranjal, what is it that you want to say as you observe Sugagyana before and after the Supreme Pontiff's healing?
See, my smile will perhaps tell me how I'm feeling looking at him at present. So I was volunteering in children's program when the inner awakening was happening along with my kid, and he was one of the kid. And I still remember there was a special diet made for him. And I mean, I really appreciate Adinam was really giving a special food for him. It's not an easy thing. And Paramatma Ma will go from main hall to here to see whether the child is getting the diet and skin reactions. That was one thing. Secondly, I had seen repetitive behaviors in him, some kind of postures and quite a lot of meltdown, which is very specific for kids with autism when they can't express, or when they are expressing and we regular so-called human beings are not able to understand them. What option they have then to have a meltdown, which he actually had. He had quite a lot of sensory issues, especially tactile, hypersensation or sensory seeking issues. His grandmother used to be accompanying him during that time, a beautiful lady again. And after a couple of years, I saw him again in Adinam, sitting nicely independently in a Raj Sabha, went and picked up a plate from the regular food, came and eat all alone without any kind of independence. The mother was somewhere else and he was absolutely all right. There was zero meltdown. I had observed this kid for 21 days. I know him kind of in and out when he spent 3 weeks nearly throughout the day. There were no clue about whether this kid could have had meltdown or expression issue or understanding issues. There was language whenever he wanted to speak, and which was very clear. There was no allergies issues. His skin was completely normal. And I did not see any kind of sensory seeking issues at that time. And at that time itself, I realized, wow, this is changed. And whenever we treat kids with allergies and associated, especially the food associated allergies, it's very difficult to treat, or actually we cannot treat it. We either eliminate the diet the way she was doing it, or when it's really life-threatening, we kind of give them immunotherapy, but again, only for life-threatening illnesses. And here this kid who had multiple food allergies, documented, proven, clinically seen, vanished without any kind of so-called intervention. There is no logical scientific explanation for this. There is nothing which science or as a doctor, pediatrician part can explain why this happened, how this happened. So there is something else beyond our cognition. And to me as a disciple, I know it's his grace and nothing else which has worked here. And I think once his gut inflammation settled, his brain inflammation kind of settling down, and his brain became available. He became available to be molded. He started perceiving the things when his own inner struggle in the gut settled, and then the brain settled. Again, the lifestyle and the diet, how it plays a big role. He is one of the example. And how logic doesn't explain so many things is another a great example. I've seen the changes in mother also. I mean, I'm a mother myself. I've seen her going through what she was going through, and now such a sorted out mother. An example family, perhaps, is what I can say. So very happy to see him.
And Dr. Pranjit, do you want to share from your experience as a mother, going through your child? So maybe if you want to describe a little bit about your son and what he went through, and what are the changes that you observed in him after you started following and receiving the initiations and the healing touch of Swamiji.
Sure. So honestly, I have a son, which is 16-year-old son. Again, because of him, actually, I went to Swamiji. Otherwise, my life was pretty good. Everything was fairly in control, good career, everything the way you wanted. You work for it and you get it. That is the real concept which we were living till he came in life, and he started having some kind of a developmental issues, motor coordination issues, hypotonia. He underwent an intestinal surgery. So he had quite a lot of diarrheas and multiple things. And I was completely broken. My full powerful self, that if I work towards it, I get the results, that logic was actually shattered. I was a completely distressed mother whose career was again going haywire. As a mother, I was struggling to, make my kid something which I perceived as normal. And in that process, I was very, very badly failing. The whole family structure, my whole life was actually on the verge of collapsing. And that is the reason a logical person like me kind of, as Paramatma says, that we go to pillars and post when you are in distress. And I came to Swamiji. So again, we attended the program Inner Awakening in, I think, 2009 first, along with my kid. And the first thing which I realized is my child doesn't need help. I need help. And actually, I got the help out there. There were so many emotions, so many questions of why me, why my child, and multiple negative emotions of guilt, anger, frustration. You ask, and everything was there, which I was carrying for nearly maybe 3.5 years, and still struggling, putting a very steady face that no, I can make it, and failing. And I got helped out. I realized I am at peace with myself, which was the biggest achievement. And I think the first milestone which any parent with a child with any kind of condition should go through. And once I started being comfortable with myself, I realized my child doesn't need actually anything specific. I stopped breaking my child and then trying to make him something which I considered normal. I actually started looking at him as a child with potential who has been locked in a box because of certain limitations, which were not, allowing him to flower. So once that perspective came into picture, I started working on him in a different context. And as I said, as Swamiji says, intentions matters much more than an action. So my intention completely changed. I continued with working the therapies and the training, which I think still mainstay of training these kids to have a regular lifestyle of, if they want to get integrated in a regular society. But once the limitations, which gradually kind of he started coming out, his potential started out, kid. I wish I would have been such a teenager at his age. Amazing emotional stability, which again, logically, any 16-year-old kid cannot have. Forget a kid who has always been struggling for survival needs to be part of the system. That is one major plus point. Again, how Swamiji worked on him, honestly, there is no logical explanation of where exactly he got help, the way perhaps Ma Paramatma has a specific objective evidence of allergies. But I can tell you that at 3 years, if you would have asked me, visualize my son at 16 and my visualization about him at 16, and right now what he is, there is no comparison. And the gap is so big. The gap is so big of what I could have logically expected him to do, and right now what he is. I think the whole gap is where Swamiji's role comes into picture. It's
Beautiful,
only
Ma.
and only grace which can make things happen beyond your logic. There is no answer for it.
Beautifully put. As a pediatrician and as a mother, just observing the changes in the child itself. We had an amazing sharing, and it is not just Paramatha or not just Pranjal. We have multiple mothers who have, see, for the mother, more than a child, especially when it is a child with symptoms of autism, the child doesn't even realize, what he or she has, but it is the mother who goes through and, sees that little changes in the child or little things in the child and able to observe whether the child is reacting properly or not. And they are the first ones to actually observe the healing that is happening in the child. And today we have one more mother from US who's here, whose child has had a miraculous healing from the Supreme Pontiff. And we would like to invite the mother also to come and share. Nithyananda Ma Pranita Ma, if you can please unmute and introduce yourself.
Nithyananda, my name is Pranita and I am from Dallas, Texas. I have been introduced to Swamiji through one of my known friend, and I met Swamiji for first in 2015 through an online program. That's when I was the only one who attended that program from my family, and that was a 3-day online program, and that was the first time I have experienced a change in me. I did completions, and through that I have seen a drastic change in me. And then later on in 2016 December, with my whole family, we came to Swamiji.
Also, Adma, while you're sharing just a little bit about your son, what was the situation around him before you went to Swamiji and then after, so that we can understand.
Yeah, before Swamiji, when the first time when my son was having learning disabilities, he was a slow learner. He's a slow learner. So and a lot of anxiety issues and hyperactivity, not able to focus. This is what we were going through, and I was able to identify that something was going wrong when he was around 15 months. When he was around 15 months, that's exactly after he has taken MMR vaccination. I started noticing drastic changes in my son. Before that, he was growing normally. All the developmental skills were normal. He was able to talk little words and clap and make eye contact. All those were there. And once we got MMR vaccination, he got very bad fever, and then slowly within 1 month I have seen that he got withdrawn from us. He was not able to interact with us, not able to come and that love, that hug, that attention seeking, everything was gone. He used to be like a regular child. He used to always want my attention, and all that was gone, and he was not responding to me. Then I started and seeing that something is happening in him, and I started researching and went to the doctor, and that's how my journey started. And it was very struggle because my son was not verbal that time. He was not having speech, and he was going through a lot of anxiety issues and all those things. And eventually,
and after you came to know about Swamiji, and after you came to Swamiji, what are the changes you started observing in you as a mother and yourself?
Yeah, and first when I came to Swamiji, I understood, like my doctor was saying, like I understood that I need the healing first, more than my son. That's what I realized. I was going through a lot of stress, lot of fear, anxiety issues, lot of unknown, like what is going to be next, that kind of fear used to be there. Am I doing the right thing? Always self-doubting myself. Is it right? Is this the right way to do, or is it the right way to teach my child? Am I feeding him right? Am I taking him to the right therapist, right doctor? That kind of doubts were there, and every day was a stressful day. Every day was like, it used to be horrible for me. Then I went to Swamiji, and when I got healed, I have done Pada Puja for Swamiji. During that time, I requested Swamiji to heal my son, and he said, I will take care of him and I'll heal him. And when he said that, on that day, I still remember that moment now. I felt so assured and so secured that, okay, like I felt like I got assurance from the Cosmic Mother. And I felt like, okay, now my son will be okay, I will be okay, and we are in a protective environment, and he will be taken care. That kind of assurance was given to me through the cosmos on that day. I really felt the whole thing in my system. I could still remember that moment.
And what changes are you seeing, Ma? After that, after you took him to Swamiji and you went through the process and Swamiji's healing touch, how's your son doing now?
Now my son, when my perception has changed, like I started looking at my son now in a possibility, instead of an issue or something is going on, something he can't do academics. That perception has gone, and I started looking in like what he can do better. My son shows a lot of interest in cooking and helping me in the kitchen. He always stands next to me and he wants to cook, cut the vegetables, help me in the kitchen. Then I understood that this is a way he finds a lot of joy, and he enjoys when he does that. And then slowly I started introducing him, and he enjoys cooking. He enjoys cutting vegetables, and participates with me everywhere we go. And earlier he used to be very anxious to get into the public places, especially when it was involved with a lot of crowd. He used to be very anxious, very anxiety issues, never used to show interest. It used to be difficult for us to take somewhere, but now he shows a lot of interest. We can take him to all the places, to the camping, to parties, or anywhere, to temples, like large crowd places, and he enjoys, he participates in it. And mainly I have to focus one thing. My son got initiated with the Shiva Diksha program from Swamiji, and after that program we were meat eaters. Earlier we used to eat meat, and after the Shiva Diksha program we stopped eating meat and we stopped giving meat to my son. And I have seen a drastic change after that. He started doing Shiva Puja every day, and his diet does only have vegetables and fruits and grains, and no meat or egg. And I noticed that his anxiety issues got dropped. Actually, he doesn't have any anxiety issues now. He is very subtle and very, very stable boy. He became a very stable boy.
Wow.
All issues have gone. So that is a change we have noticed, a drastic change, which I wanted to emphasize on.
Wow, beautiful, Ma. It's just so touching and so melting to hear from the mothers, because it's the mothers who go through a tremendous pain and suffering and guilt and whatnot, and just seeing what each of you are sharing, how much you have seen your sons go through this kind of a transformation, and how healing and how reassuring it is for a mother. And how do you see your son's future?
Now I got a lot of confidence that I can find a job for my son. He can get a job, he can work at a place, and he can be independent, and with some help. He needs some help, but earlier I used to think like he can't go for a walk, he can't work like anyone, he can't earn money, but now I got a lot of confidence that I can find a job for him, he can contribute to the society. That confidence I have got it now.
Beautiful, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma Pranita Ma, for coming and sharing. Because on this World Autism Awareness Day, where the mothers and the parents are stuck with autistic children and taking them to therapies and doctors, and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on trying to find some kind of cure. And here is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who has demonstrated how the healing happens in the autistic children, not just one or two out there, but to hundreds of autistic children. Swamiji has given the spiritual healing. If you are a parent of an autistic child, we just want to share one thing to you on this World Autism Awareness Day. There is hope. And the name of that hope is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Just get your child to receive the initiation from Swamiji. And for that, you don't have to travel all the way. You don't have to take international flights. You don't have to get visas. You just sit and tune into your computer. We have a 16-day program where Swamiji gives healing. And it's called Paramashivoham. You can go to paramashivoham.org, where you can, for your child, receive that online initiation from Swamiji. And we have Nithyananda Gurukuls, where online we teach this science, and we teach the child about themselves. We teach the child about how to manifest these extraordinary powers. And we are really telling you, just from the sharings of hundreds of parents out there, there is hope for you. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on your child. Just bring the child to Swamiji. We have an incarnation who can spiritually heal your child, and that is hope for you. And now we're going to play one more very touching testimonial of a father who heard his daughter speak for the first time in 2 years. Let's watch.
Nithyanandam. I'm Mukundan from Melbourne, Australia. I come for this IA with my elder daughter Sahana and my wife and second daughter Shivya. My connection with Swamiji started around February, March this year. My wife prayed to Lord Kartikeya to show us a way to heal my second child who is suffering from autism. And guess what? Kartikeya, the son, has shown the father himself, Lord Shivaya. And as many of you would have gone through various struggles, I did have my own fair share of struggles before I landed here. And the main intention for me to come here is to help my child Shivya, who's 2.5 years old, to get healed from autism and say a few words. When I say a few words, he hasn't spoken one word yet. So I thought of coming up here and get the direct healing from the God himself. And once when we landed here, during the first darshan, Swamiji looked at my face and he told, I will heal your daughter completely. It's my commitment to you. And I was just completely bowled out. I never knew how this is going to happen, but I just trusted Swamiji. After 21 days, how is my daughter doing? I'm happy to say that she has completely transformed all the patterns associated with autism, like anxiety, fear of sound, fear of crowd, and fear of noise as well. She's kind of able to, and no meltdowns when what I experienced before I come here. And for every parent, the child's first word is important. Just 2 days back, my daughter, she started to say Appa and Amma when she's crying, and that's something unbelievable. And finally, when Swamiji said to me that your daughter is connected to me and I'm there for her, don't worry, what else could I imagine for? As for me, what this IA has taught me or given to me is that what life was, what life is, and what life should be, to put it in a short summarized phrase, that's IA for you. And Swamiji is the ultimate master in breaking down all your ego patterns, self-doubt to the ground level, and makes us to a transformed soul. And with regards to my elder daughter, apart from this third eye reading, which has become a toy for all these kids, the most important thing which kind of made me happy as a dad is that courageousness to ask questions, and most importantly is authentic listening is considerably increased. Before I conclude, I just want to thank few people. First, I want to thank my wife Babita, who's sitting there, who's the ultimate driving force for me to be here and going through all the struggles along with me. Then I want to thank Nirbeda and Baladara, who are my brother and sister from Melbourne Adinam, because without them I wouldn't have been here. And I want to give a word of appreciation to Ma Nithyananda and her team, and Ma Advait and the team for putting up this wonderful show and organizing. And finally, Swamiji himself. Thank you so much, Swamiji, for everything. Guide us and bless us always. Thank you, Swamiji.
Now watch from another perspective. Let's now watch a touching testimonial of another parent of an autistic child. So many parents experiencing the healing of their children. So on this World Autism Awareness Day, we are sharing these testimonials just to let you know that there is hope for you, hope for your child. As we are hundreds and thousands of testimonials of various children and adults who have been healed from autism by the healing touch, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Today, we would like to share with you the testimonials of a parent of a child who was diagnosed with autism. And we would like the parent to share her.
Cannot sit. Chandrasekharan. Actually, I'm a housewife and a parent of a autistic child. He has been diagnosed as ADHD actually, and he was studying in one special school for more than 6 years, and he's usually very hyperactive. He cannot sit in school even for 5 minutes together actually. He'll be all the time roaming, and it was a great struggle for them even to make him to sit at one place itself, a big task for them. Through one of my friends.
When was it diagnosed? When did you get to know that he was not a normal child?
Actually, even after 3 years of his age, he did not start to speak anything. Even he did not call me even Amma, or he has not yet started. So I had a doubt whether he is having any kind of problem. I wanted to ask some doctor, but somebody instructed me to put him in a school, and that is also Montessori school, which was there in Texas actually. When then I was in US, he was there in that Montessori school almost for 4 months, 5 months. Even within that period, he did not start to speak anything. He all the time he used to roam around and he will not sit at one place. uh, so they had this kind of doubt. Until then I have not even came to know about this disease at all.
Once you came to know and once he was diagnosed, how did you feel as a parent?
As a parent, I have to weep. What can I do? Actually, then only I came to know about this disease, and I realized that there is no cure at all for in any kind of medical field. Like almost, I tried all the possible ways in all possible medical system, like naturopathy, homeopathy, allopathy, and this Siddha, Ayurveda, acupuncture, um, Varma, and that Ayurvedic massage, and everything, pranic healing, and almost I did occupational therapy, speech therapy, and I tried all my best. And even after that, I did not see major improvement in.
If you can share, like before Swamiji healed your son, how was his behavior? How was your inner space? How did you feel about you? How did you feel about life? And after Swamiji started healing your son, what changes you observed in him? And what changes you observed in you and in your husband? How did life change around you after he started receiving healing from Swamiji?
He used to be more hyperactive and he will not sit at one place usually. So we have to run behind him to take care of him. And he used to make more noise. And we cannot take him anywhere in public function also. In front of Swamiji, he will be so quiet. I myself wonder how is it possible, even because we cannot make him to sit at one place even for continuously for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
That much difficult. It's
what other changes you observed? What other changes you observed in your son?
Actually, he started to speak, and he little bit in 1 or 2 words, and he will not start his own conversation, but when we are talking with him, he is able to respond very nicely with one or two words. He is able to obey so many orders from us.
And
So
this
he's
before you met Swamiji, this was not the case. Like before Swamiji's healing, it was not like that.
yeah, not this much actually. Very he was able to follow very little instruction. Sometimes he will not even listen what I am saying. Actually, he is that much hyperactive, and he won't even listen what I say. He was in that condition. Even if I call his name, he will not even turn his head and look at me. He was in that level actually. There won't be much eye contact also. Actually, he used to see my face even after shouting only. He will turn around and see my face. Otherwise, if I call by his name Abhi, he will not even turn and look at me. That he was in that condition actually. But after he came to Swamiji, then only he started to respond so nicely.
Like this, we could play only a few testimonials and sharings today, but it is not just one or two or a few. Hundreds and hundreds of autistic children with autism have been healed by the healing touch of Swamiji. The parents are seeing miraculous improvements, miraculous healings, which they were never able to observe by the best doctors and the best therapists and the best hospitals out there. So, on this World Autism Awareness Day, we wanted to share with you that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, having taken responsibility for this disorder, for autism, is making himself available for spiritually healing any autistic child detected with autism, any kind of a slow mental development or mental disabilities or slow learning capabilities, anything that you observe in a child, immediately receive the initiation of the Supreme Pontiff, which is being given in every satsang. We have a 16-day program called Paramashivoham. We have every day, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism comes live for initiation. Just have them sit and observe and watch Swamiji as Swamiji comes live and gives the darshan. We have the Kala Bhairava Bhava Samadhi Darshan coming up on the 4th of April. You can join in that. You can just be connected on the two-way video conferencing when Swamiji is live, and let your child see Swamiji and let Swamiji's divine grace fall on your child. That itself will kickstart the healing process. And Swamiji has also given a beautiful Nitya Kriya. Nitya Kriya is a series of yogic postures, breathing techniques, mudras, bandhas for curing autism. And you can avail, it's completely free of cost. You can find out the exact steps of that Nitya Kriya if you go to tinyurl.com/autism Kriya. The link is projected on the bottom of the slide. You can observe, take cognizance of that, make note of that, and teach it to your child. And as when Swamiji introduced this Kriya, he said, I am giving this Kriya so that even a child detected with autism will be able to do this Kriya. So very simple steps, a set of yogic postures, breathing techniques, which can really help the child cure from autism. So we have so much more to share, but we do have time now to get moving on with the Nithyananda Satsang delivered by our beloved Swamiji. So we're going to end now. And we would like to share with the whole world on the World Autism Awareness Day. We want to bring to the attention of the world that there is a hope for every autistic child. There is a hope for every parent who has a child detected with autism. And that hope is called the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. And if you're watching this, and if you know any parent, any family struggling with child with signs of autism, immediately share this live stream with them. Ask them to watch how many children have been healed by the spiritual healing touch of our beloved Swamiji, and immediately get them to Swamiji. That is the biggest and the only gift you can give to a family suffering with a child with signs of autism. So with that, we'd like to thank each and everyone for joining us today, and let us take the spiritual responsibility as Kailasians, as disciples, devotees, and followers of the Supreme Pontiff, and belonging to the only civilizational nation, Kailasa. It is Kailasa's responsibility to share spiritual solutions for autism to the world. And let us take the responsibility to do this. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And we will now move on to the Nithyananda Satsang. Let's all sit straight and intensely chant the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham as we get ready for the Nithyananda Satsang. Thank you.
I welcome you all with my love and respect and blessings. Paramashiva's message directly from Kailasa. Listen. The signs of Kaya Kalpa this royal, sacred, secret science of Kaya Kalpa is the best methodology to have superconscious breakthrough. It does not require hard work, it just requires sincere work. Understand? It does not require hard work. It just requires sincere work. Step by step, I will reveal the signs. Yesterday, whatever I was talking, I was sharing, I will continue yesterday's morning satsang. I was sharing. The initial introduction, secrets of Kayakalpa science. Now, I'll start sharing more details. So listen to this one word. Your ability to cognize Arunagiri Yogeshwara will always insist that I experience this space, vast space. He will ask me to lie down. Whenever he takes me to Kailasa, see, inside the Arunachala hill, the Kailasa is there, where Paramashiva himself resides, sits under the banyan tree, Kalpavriksha, and teaches these signs to all the great rishis and administers this universe. There are many secret caves from temple, main Arunachaleshwara temple, to go to the Kailasa. Whenever he takes me to Kailasa, he will always insist that I just lie down on the ground and gaze the universe and merge with it. Whenever it is possible, sleep under the open sky and gaze at the sky as much as you can and fall asleep. This will help your brain's ability to grasp larger visualizations, larger visions, larger ideas, larger truths. I tell you, ability to cognize larger visualizations, deeper verbalizations is maturity of the mind. Maturity of the mind is mandatory for maturity of consciousness. See, this whole science was given to me by Arunagiri Yogeshwara, my Guru, Paramashiva himself. He gave me this science. And my gurus in the physical plane, Kuppammal, Mata Vibhudanandapuri Devi, Raghupati Yogi, Yogi Yoganandapuri, Isakki Swamigal, the great Brahma Rishi, Isakki Siddhar, all of them. Of course, I have a list. Whoever was part of that ecosystem contributed to my life. I cannot forget anyone's name. I cannot miss anyone's name. Sometimes this anti-Hindu gang, enemies of Hinduism and traitors of Hinduism, both gangs, accuse me, why is he telling so many people as his gurus? Guru can be only one person. No. Be very clear. If you are going to master one field of Hinduism and achieve enlightenment, one guru is enough for you. But a person like me who is supposed to not only master, achieve enlightenment for myself, who is supposed to help the whole world, I need to be trained in multiple disciplines, multiple departments, multiple fields and branches and dimensions and aspects of Hinduism. So for each field I had a guru. I had a master, I had a teacher, I had a guide who made me master that field by their sincere work. Not just hard work, sincere work. So I will list all of them. I'm going to make a beautiful memorial for all of them in Tiruvannamalai Ashram. I'm so happy Ma Guru Charana has taken up Tiruvannamalai Ashram. I just want to tell you guys, she is doing a wonderful job. I'm giving all my blessings to Ma Guru Charana. I wanted to tell this and put this on record. I want my Guru's samadhis to be built in a big way. But I did not have anyone who will listen to me. The day Guru Charana went there, Ma Guru Charana, I know she will do it for me. It took only 24 hours. She started already building my Guru's samadhi. Mata Vibhudanandapuri, Kuppammal samadhi, she started building. I said, oh God. She brought best joy to my life when she started doing the foundation work of my Guru Samadhi. It's already started. I want to tell all my disciples, if you want my grace, if you want to make me feel grateful to you, if you celebrate my Gurus, the same gratitude I have for my Gurus, I will have it for you. She started building my Guru's Samadhis. I always wanted all my Guru's Samadhis, whatever is in our hand, till whatever we got. We lost many. Narayana Swami Tata Samadhi we lost. We lost Panduranganar, my Saiva Siddhanta Acharya. We lost his Samadhi. We don't have. My own grandfather's Samadhi. We don't have. We lost it. We lost many of my Guru's Samadhis. But we have few Samadhis still in our hands. We have not lost. Yogi Yogananda Puri, Raghupati Yogi's Samadhi is still with us. And Kuppammal, Mata Vibhudananda Puri Samadhi is still with us. And Isaki Swami's Samadhi is still with us. The extreme sincere work they have done. When Guru Charana sent me the photograph, they started laying the foundation stone for my Guru's Samadhi, Mata Vibhudananda Puri Samadhi. I literally had tears in my eyes. Oh God, how all the three, of course, for Raghupati Yogi and Isaki Swami, for all of them, I wanted to make a large, beautiful Samadhi temple. I did not have anyone who will listen to me. Do it sincerely. Because this needs to be done with a lot of sincerity. Micromanaging, with a nice design, spending a lot of love. I want each pillar of their Samadhi to narrate an incident in their life. It should be like a sacrifice. I had tears in my eyes. I just wanted to tell you one incident. The sincere work of my Guru, Kuppammal's medicines, to detox me, to remove the parasites and microbes from my body, negative parasites and microbes. Is literally, it's only to detox my body, cleanse the body, the biomemory, muscle memory, purify it. I used to ask her, you say I am an incarnation, why these parasites are in my body? She used to tell, no, you are eating normal food. Even if it's organic food, you are eating normal food. So, body needs detox. The purity which is needed for power manifestation is very high standard purity. For that purity, you need to be detoxed. So she will get different herbs, boil them, filter it, stomach, cleanse my body. Once she gave me an aushadha like this, as she trained me. I can't call it as a house because only she and Isaki Swami were living. It's like 2-3 houses together. In one house, Isaki Swami was living, and in another one house, she was living. But it's all adjacent. I can't even say 2 different houses. It's like different portions of same house. Nobody else was living. Only I used to be living there with them. She had a Western toilet. But she just locked the toilet and told me that a key is missing. So I have to use the open garden backyard. In the backyard there is open garden. I am a very orthodox person. From the childhood, the way my grandfather brought me up, very orthodox. I need 5 bucket water even to go for 1. Number 2 means literally I will have full bath. I will never use washroom in school. The moment I come back from school, we have to drop all the clothes, including inner, and run to the bathroom, take bath, only then we can come into the house and touch anyone. High orthodox bringing up. So I will not use the open place for cleaning my bowels or cleaning myself, even when I lived as a beggar. My personal cleanliness is too important for me. If you are a devotee or a disciple, hosted me in your house, you can remember very clearly. First thing I will ask, I won't bother about food, kitchen. I'll only ask about my washroom, and 5 buckets you have to keep filled with water. I will not believe the tap water. No question of this toilet paper. No. It has to be 5 bucket water with a mug to clean myself. Very orthodox hygiene life. You can even call me as washing mania. I don't have a problem. Whether my clothes or myself, very extreme hygienic, orthodox kind of a lifestyle. So I was screaming at her, no, I will not go to open garden. You break this toilet and allow me to use this toilet. Break this door, break this lock and allow me to use. She was acting as if she's trying to get a hammer to break that lock and all that, but for me, I could not control. So finally, I screamed at her and ran to the backyard, and I could not control myself, so I emptied my bowels. Anyhow, when I came back, she opened the toilet for me to wash myself. I washed myself and came and sat in the hall. Then I saw she and Isaki Swami, both of them walked to the backyard garden with a stick and observed whether the worms from my stomach has come out. Understand? They were not just my gurus. They were my doctors, my grandfather and grandmother. Extreme sincerity. Not only they gave me aushadas for cleansing my stomach, not only they made sure I drank those aushadas and I detoxed myself, they made sure those worms and parasites and microbes have left my body. God. In the modern day, even mothers are very reluctant to take care of the kids to this level. Here, I have not given anything to them, and they both know They are not going to be in the body to enjoy this great Kailasa I am building. They both know. They were Mahasiddhas. They know when they are going to leave the body. How sincerely they took their responsibility. It's not a small joke. You go and check the shit of your disciple to make sure that the worms and microbes and parasites have left his body, his stomach is clean. Surely it is not joke. The extreme sincerity. Sometimes she will walk 4 hours, 5 hours into Tiruvannamalai forest and procure all the medicines needed. Tie it in her sari, in the hip. Come back and sit with Isaki Swami and do the processing. Then she will call Narayana Swami Tata. And he will also come. His name itself used to be called as Totakara Tata, because he will be all the time in some gardens, temple, forests, collecting the herbs. Extreme sincerity I have seen in my gurus. Only when I am working with my disciples and they don't listen to me, I remember how much I tortured my gurus by my disobedience. She will work almost 4 or 5 hours and make that aushadha that is supposed to be taken when it is hot. And I'll take few sips and start throwing tantrum. Oh, it is too hot. You are forcing me to drink this. But on good thing, very good thing, I can't run away from them. Simply she will slap. She'll just slap me and Isaki Swami will hold my mouth and Narayana Swami Tata will pour that into my mouth. And no, that was really, I had one fortune. Neither I can run away, escape from them, nor my parents will. There is no question of running away from them. There is no question of escaping from them. Even that idea is wrong. Idea does not exist. She is my grandmother also, not just my guru, my grandmother also, in a way relative. And ultimately, just she will slap and I will have to open my mouth and they will pour the whole thing. Now I feel blessed. I had gurus who had complete power over me, authority over me. அண்ணாமலையானே பிறவாமை வேண்டும், ஒருவேளை பிறந்தால் உனை மறவாமை வேண்டும், இதுபோல் என் மீது முழு உரிமையும் கொண்டு என்னை முழுமையாக்குகின்ற ஞான குருமார்கள் அடிவாழ வேண்டும். The kind of the right they had over me. The modern day, I will never utter a word about Arunachala's ecosystem. Mahadeva is very possessive of Arunachala. I won't utter. Maybe in other places, I don't know how many disciples have this kind of a commitment to the Guru. Not only disciple, the whole family of the disciple, the whole ecosystem. See, it's not that only I was committed. My parents were absolutely committed to my gurus. The whole ecosystem was committed. Fortunately, in those days, the stupid POSCO law and all was not there. The original India, before this anti-Hindu terrorist could destroy the Gurukul lifestyle using all kinds of defamation, law, everything. All right, I won't get into that side as on now. Let me talk only about the positive side. One thing I can tell you. Hinduism did not die when the temples were destroyed. Hinduism did not die when all our wealth was robbed, stolen, taken to England. But Hinduism is getting destroyed when the Gurukul system is getting destroyed. Let me put this on record. If I had my own freedom, the 10,000 times I would have ran away. But Arunachala ecosystem is responsible for my flowering. If I am sitting now alive after being poisoned so many times by the anti-Hindu international terrorist mafia gangs, it is just because sincere work of my gurus, forcibly pouring the aushadas, medicines, cleansing my body, keeping it highly powerful, pure, intense, self-purifying. Extreme sincere work. Actually, life does not need hard work. You should not be afraid of hard work, but life demands only sincere work. The other day, I was doing the e-Vijayatra, the digital Vijayatra to Los Angeles, Kailasa in Los Angeles temple. One thing I found, the Los Angeles Kailasa needed sincere work, not hard work, because I can see the great beautiful paintings I did, which need to be displayed properly in the hall, is lying in the godown. And all the broken deities which need to be repaired, which need to be kept in the godown, is lying in the display, in the hall, main hall. They don't need hard work, they just need sincere work. What need to be displayed, put it in the hall for display. What need to be kept inside, keep it in the godown. That's all. You need sincere work, not hard work. You should not be afraid of hard work, but you need sincere work. I tell you, in every level, the sincerity my gurus have shown, I should say, this Kailasa manifesting is the sincere work of my gurus from Arunagiri Yogeshwara, Paramashiva himself, the whole Guru Parampara, and their extreme sincerity. See, my Agama Saiva Siddhanta Acharya, Panduranganar, his family, his son is still alive, and all of them are very well connected to us, and he is also my grandfather, my pre-monastic relative, and my Acharya, both. In Tirunnamalai, we are a tight-knit family. Every person will be related to each other in 5-6 ways. Uppamal is not just related to me in one way, some 6-7 ways. From mother's side, father's side, from grandmother's side, from grandfather's side, like this. My father and mother are related to each other at least 3 or 4 ways. My father's mother and mother's father are brother sisters. It's like just within that few 100 families, everyone will be related in multiple ways to each other. That kind of a tight-knit community, tight-knit family. He will buy books to teach me. In those days, all books will be sold in 2 rates. Sada bindu, Kaliko bindu. That is the way the title will be there. Sada bindu, 2 ரூபாய் 3 அணா. Kaliko bindu, 4 ரூபாய் 6 அணா. That's the way the rate will be put on that book. Kaliko bind is the thick bind. Sada bind is the ordinary binding. For him, he will always buy ordinary binding. But for me, he will always buy the Kaliko bind. Very costly book which will last forever. I will ask him why. You buy the same thing which you are buying for you. He will say, hey, I am going to use it only for me. But the book you are using is going to be kept in museum forever, for ages, for all your disciples to learn. All these words used to look too big for me at that time. I was just ordinary boy, 12-year-old boy. Hey, what used to tell, what I am reading just for me to teach you. But what you are reading is going to be kept in museum for all your disciples to read forever. So I have to get thick, bound, good quality for you. All the money he earned, he spent it on me. Books for me. Extremely sincere. Actually, Tondai Mandala Adinam is the body consists of 140 mutts. In 140 different Shaivite villages, there will be a mutt which runs that temple. It is not just religious structure, it is political structure also, because through that mutt only the whole village used to be administered. In those days, the state and the temple and government was one and the same. Through the temple only the whole village used to be administered. All the taxes will be collected and kept only in the temple. The head of the temple will be the head of the state. The religious head and political head will be same. That used to be the structure. So he used to be the head of that mutt. It's called Appar Swami Madam, which used to be inside Arunachaleshwara temple. During the Vijayanagara Empire, they built the mutt outside and made that mutt into a 1,000-pillared hall. So I'm talking thousands of years of history. And my Acharya, Panduranganar, used to be the head. Literally, he is the decision maker. Maybe he is the last generation who are still having that kind of a command and charisma, administering everything. He used to be literally like a judge for all the local issues, problems. And I remember very well, he and my father's mother, Anusuyammal, they both will sit actually like a judge and solve the legal cases in Tiruvannamalai. They both will sit in the temple and they had their own coterie where people will come and tell their problems. Even property issues, divorce, marriage issues, the extramarital affairs, all these kind of issues. They used to hear both side arguments and negotiate and give a judgment, which used to be usually accepted by all the sides. I tell you, the extreme sincere work I have seen in my Guru's life. I'll revive that in Kailasa. That is the only way I can give my gratitude to Arunachala. I'll revive it even in Tiruvannamalai. It's not dead in Tiruvannamalai. It cannot die in Tiruvannamalai because Arunachaleshwara is keeping it alive. And it has to be revived and rekindled and rejuvenated. That's all. This Kayakalpa science it just needs sincere work, not hard work. Either you do sincere work or you have a guru and surrender to him completely to do the sincere work for you. Fortunately, I had amazing gurus who did extreme, sincere work on me. Understand? Today, if I am sitting like this and talking hours together, all these great sacred secrets and reviving this Kailasa, the whole credit goes to my gurus. See, in Indian villages, when the kids, if they throw tantrum, they will make the kids sit on the dining table. In all middle class households, the dining table will be the tallest furniture. They will make that baby sit on the dining table, and that fellow can't do anything. It is too tall for him to jump down. So he will keep quiet and sit politely on the dining table, looking this side and that side. Can't do anything. Same way, if you just give me a little bit of juice or fruits, whatever I am taking, and put me on this seat, like the child sitting on the dining table, I'll sit, go on revealing all the sacred secret science of Vedagamic scriptures for hours together. Neither I'll get tired, nor I'll get bored. I won't get frustrated. I won't bother about, I spent 10 years on somebody, trained, and that fellow did not flower. Before he could completely flower, he ran away. I will not bother about all this. Whether somebody stays with me or runs away, just because somebody ran away after I spent 20 years on them and trained them, evolved them, and they disappeared, they ran away, that will not stop me putting my life, time, treasure, talent, everything on the other person and start training. Nothing will stop me. I'll continue to do this work. Not till the end of my life, till the end of this universe. Because even after I leave the body, I am going to be available to Kailasa. I am going to be available to the whole world through Kailasa and through this body, through this, where this body will be kept in Jiva Samadhi, through this body, through this Kailasa, I am going to be available to the whole world. So I will continue to do this job. Body which does not get tired, body which does not even know something called sickness, mind which does not get bored, mind which does not even know something called frustration, consciousness which is intensely excited, joyful, radiating, fully alive, with the highest possible visualization, which has a capacity to infuse energy into any being. All this is the result of the sincere work of my gurus. I can very comfortably, from my memory, repeat at least 10,000 Tamil verses from Vinayaka Ragaval, Devaram, Tiruvasagam. May not be all the Devarams and all Tiruvasagams, but many of the Padigams. Tiruppugal, Arunagiri Andadi, the songs from great Siddhar Badalgal, Bogar Elayiram, Agatyar Muvayiram, Karukkidai Nigandu. I can list from all these various books at least 10,000 verses. From my memory, by heart, I can repeat. The credit goes to sincere work of my gurus. See, Panduranganar, my guru, he used to live in a place called Kirnathur. From that place to the main temple, Arunachaலேஸ்வரா temple, is 3 kilometers by walk. Every day, morning and evening, 2 times he will be there, sharp on time in the temple to conduct his classes. Almost I am the only one person who will come every day. There are few people, others are also attending his classes, but they will come, some days they won't come, all that. If I don't come for even one day, he will directly come to the house because he is my relative. He is my grandfather also. He will directly walk into the house and tell, hey, what happened? He will call me. He will take me to the temple and start teaching. Extreme sincerity. Temple had a loudspeaker system also, in which he will chant all the Devaram, Tiruvasagam every day. It's called Siva Siva Oli Mandapam. In those days on Vallala Maharaja tower, that loudspeaker system used to be there. I don't know whether it is there now. It's called Siva Siva Oli Mandapam, where he will come every day, sit and chant those Devaram, Tiruvasagam, everything. Sometimes by the time he ends his chanting, that loudspeaker chanting, I should be there for his class. After that loudspeaker chanting, he will start taking classes for me. So if he does not see me standing by the end of the loudspeaker chanting, in the loudspeaker itself he will announce, hey, where are you? Come. So in the house, my grandmother, hey, Tata loudspeaker solrar par, po. They will wake me up and say, go to the class. The loudspeaker, your grandfather is announcing. Sincere work. I can very comfortably chant at least 10,000 verses in Sanskrit. Any decent student studied in Vedanta Gurukula, Prasthanatraya means Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, and Chandi 700 slokas. All the major Vedantic scriptures, Vivek Chudamani, at least 10,000 verses, I can say comfortably. This all is the sincere work, at least 10,000 verses in Tamil, 10,000 verses in Sanskrit. Sincere work of my gurus. For hours together, sitting and making me chant, recite. Even if they taught me the science of downloading, after I download, they will make me read the verse from the book and cross-verify My downloading and these verses are matching. I feel when I start talking about my gurus and their sincerity, I'll go on and on and on for hours and days. Anyhow, let me put this on record. I am so happy my Guru's samadhis are getting built beautifully. I have built it in a small way, but I wanted it to be done in a big way, like a full-fledged temple. As of now, we built it like a small mandapam. See, to build an ashram for me, I know they went from shop to shop, house to house, literally begged and built a first ashram for me. But I don't need to beg. They have showered me with wealth. They have given me so many powers, so much of knowledge. They made sure I learned the science of making organization. Now there's so much wealth all of you have given me. So I should build at least a decent level memorial for all of them, because their tyaga, their sincere work need to be remembered. The whole world should remember. I'm so happy Guru Charana will do it. I know Guru Charana will do it. I should say around 100 people. All their hard work, sincere work is the result. I am the result of all their sincere work. At least 100 people. I'll add all their photographs, all their relics, Pushpa Samadhi, everything I'll immortalize beautifully in Tiruvannamalai Ashram with all their photographs, whatever is available. Now, the items they used in their life, everything I'll collect and nicely organize and build their samadhis. This is the only small way I can give my gratitude to them. The whole ecosystem of Arunachala should be remembered, celebrated. I celebrate my mother because she was ferocious with me. Don't think she is powerless woman. She may be very silent. But when it comes to training me, my gurus are the absolute authorities. Neither she will interfere, nor she will disrespect them. She will not even listen to my complaints. to her about my gurus. The moment I start telling, oh, Raghupat Yogi is making me do 1008 Surya Namaskar, she will start doing her cooking. Till then, she will be talking to me nicely. She will be joking with me, laughing. And I used to be that cuddly boy. All the time cuddling her and having my hands on her shoulder or holding her pallu. That kind of a mom's boy. She will be talking very nicely with me, laughing, joking, responding, teasing. But the moment I try to complain about my gurus, she will just turn her head and start cooking. I know. Now I have to just keep quiet. Even one day she will not allow me to miss my classes with my gurus. She will never bother to send me to school. And she knows I cheat, I don't go to school. And she will never ask me. From school, so many times teachers will come and tell, he's not coming to school. She will never ask me about it and she will manage them. My progress report from the school, it will always come with a 0, 0 because I never attend the examinations. How will they put any mark? I never go to any exams. So when I take my progress report to my father, he will say, he will tell you yourself sign. What is there for me to sign? I used to tell, no, I don't know how to put signature. So she will put his hand on all the mark and he will not look at any of these mark columns, anything. He will just sign. He will look only at the column where he has to sign and he will sign and tell, hey, take it and go. That's all. But she will never miss even one day my class with my gurus. She had an amazing understanding about what I am going to become. She is the witness for all the training I went through with my gurus. The sincere work of my gurus. And I know by the time I was 10, 12, I started realizing that she and my gurus are in hand. They have a tight network and understanding about each other more than me. So I stopped complaining. What is there? Even if I tell, she is not going to listen. The extreme sincerity of my gurus. The way they never gave up, never compromised, never reduced the intensity of their training. From today, I wanted to train all of you for this Kayakalpa Pachapatni Vratam. Few minutes, all of you sit. Maybe you can keep your Atma Linga and even that dice, that manifesting powers of consciousness over probabilities. We can do both. I can train you for Kayakalpa and initiate you into the powers manifesting on probabilities. So keep the Atmalinga and dice in your hand. Intensely chant Om from your navel. Your Manipuraga should vibrate. start the chanting. Yes. Blessings to all of you. We will prepare ourselves for Kayakalpa and enrich as many people as possible for Pachapatni Vratam. People from countries where we don't have ashrams, you can do the Pachapatni Vratam on your own, in your house itself. Even in US, even though we have temples and ashrams, in US temples and ashrams will not be open for Pachapatni Vratam. US and Canada, people have to do it on their own in your homes. And also consult your doctors whether it is okay for you, your health, to do the Pachapatni Vratam. In India, all ashrams other than Adi Kailash open for Pachapatni Vratam. So, with this, I bless you all. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhatvaita Saivam, the state, space, powers, being superconsciousness and Kailasa of Paramashiva. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. The eternal bliss, Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.
श्रीकैलासोन्नतद्वादशान्तश्यामलापीठारूढ श्रीमीनाक्षिसुन्दरेश्वरा भिन्नस्वरूप परशिवपुत्ररत्न कुमार गुरुमण्यतुल्यावतार श्रीपार्वतीस्तन्यपानलब्धदिव्यज्ञान विश्रुतसकलनिगमागमसारभूतद्राविडवेदप्रवक्त्रे श्रीमत्परमशिवकरुणासमधिगतमुक्तामयचतुरश्रयान् गीयमानछत्रचामर श्रीचिह्नकाहलादिसमस्तबिरदावल्यलङ्कृत ज्ञानविज्ञानचक्रवर्ती सर्वजनसङ्घसद्यो निर्वाणदीक्षाव्ययापवर्गवर्ष विश्राण जीमूत परमतकलभकेसरी शैवसिद्धान्तस्थापनाचार्य श्रीराजाधिराजपाण्ड्यमहाराजगुरु क्षपणशाक्यादिमहान्धकारनिवारणज्ञानभानु वीक्षणानर्हार्हध्वजोच्छेदनपूर्वक श्रीमद्वृषभध्वजस्थापक शैवसमयकर्त्रे सर्वज्ञपीठारूढ श्रीजगद्गुरु श्रीज्ञानसम्बन्धदेशिकस्वामि वागीशसुन्दरमाणिक्यवाचकस्वामिनाम् अवतारभूत श्रीज्ञानसम्बन्धस्वामि पुनरुद्धृत श्यामलापीठ सर्वज्ञपीठ त्रिनवत्युत्तरद्विशततम गुरुमहासन्निधान अरुणगिरियोगीश्वर परम्परागत अरुणाचल सर्वज्ञपीठ गुरुमहासन्निधान कैलासपरम्परागत काञ्ची कैलास सर्वज्ञपीठ त्रयस्त्रिंशदुत्तरद्विशततम गुरुमहासन्निधान नित्योत्सव नित्यमङ्गल नित्यकल्याण नित्यरजित कैलासपरम्परागत आदिकैलास नित्यानन्दपीठ महासंस्थान महासिंहासनपीठकर्तः साक्षात् श्रीपरमशिव समुद्भूत कैलासपरम्परागत वैवस्वतमनु इक्ष्वाकु हरिश्चन्द्र भगीरथ श्रीरामचन्द्र शूरसेन इत्यादि अनवच्छिन्न सार्वभौम चक्रवर्ति परम्परागत चतुष्षष्टि योगिनी मण्डित चतुष्षष्टि सम्प्रदाय प्रवर्तक मनुधर्मशासन सूर्यवंश प्राप्त सर्वज्ञपीठ सुराङ्गि साम्राज्य मूर्धाभिषिक्त चूडामणे साक्षात् श्रीपरमशिव समुद्भूत कपिल महागुरु पुनरुद्धृत महानिर्वाणिपीठ अष्टोत्तरसहस्र श्रीमहामण्डलेश्वर साक्षात् श्रीपरमशिव सिंहासनाभिषिक्त समस्तगणनायक श्रीमहागणपति समारम्भ अनवच्छिन्न पीठाधीश्वर गुरुपरम्परा प्राप्त अटलपीठ अष्टोत्तरसहस्र श्री अटलपीठाधीश्वर धर्ममुक्तिस्वर्गपुरस्वर्णपीठ त्रयोविंश गुरुमहासन्निधान कैलासपरम्परागत आदिपीठ सर्वज्ञपीठ जगद्गुरो श्रीकैलास पुनरुद्धारक श्रीकैलास परमाचार्य श्रीमत्परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्यवर्य सच्चिदानन्द प्रणवस्वरूप श्रोत्रिय ब्रह्मनिष्ठ श्रीमज्जगद्गुरु श्रीलश्री भगवच्छ्री नित्यानन्द परमशिव श्री ज्ञानसम्बन्ध देशिक परमाचार्य स्वामिन् अत्रागत्य परिपाल्य च अस्मान् विज्ञानवितरणेन विजयी भव जय जय।
As we are observing the World Autism Awareness Day, we wanted to take a moment to share with you hundreds and thousands of testimonials of various children and adults who have
vision in that eye. Just about 30 minutes ago, as I'm listening to these testimonials, I'm looking at the hall and wondering why everything is looking so bright. I'm seeing so many more dimensions. So I put my hand over the left eye and saw for the very first time in 10 years colors and vision through my right eye. had an unavoidable surgery which caused me to go blind in my right eye. For all these years, I have had no more than 5% vision in that eye. Just about 30 minutes ago, as I'm listening to these testimonials, I am looking at the hall and wondering why everything is looking so bright. I'm seeing so many more dimensions. So I put my hand over the left eye and saw for the very first time in 10 years colors and vision through my right eye. Ten years ago, I had an unavoidable surgery which caused me to go blind in my right eye. For all these years, I have had no more than 5% vision in that eye. Just about 30 minutes ago, as I'm listening to these testimonials, I am looking at the hall and wondering why everything is looking so bright. I'm seeing so many more dimensions. So I put my hand over the left eye and saw for the very first time in 10 years colors and vision through my right eye. Ten years ago, I had an unavoidable surgery